Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Who will break out for this Florida Gators program heading into 2025? And I feel like for this Gators team specifically, this is a really important question because you look at this roster heading into 2025, it is a lot of people have a lot of belief in this football team going into the 2025 year, and rightfully so. There are a lot of known commodities that you have with Florida going into 2025, right? You return 4 to your 5 starting offensive linemen. You return damn near the whole defense. And you have a guy in DJ Lagway that might be the most talented quarterback in the country. Where Florida can go from good in 2025 to great, I think lies with some of the names that we are going to talk about breaking out in the 2025 year. Now, I think the fascinating part about this conversation is there's a lot of names that we could bring up. We could probably have an hour and a half episode just talking about breakout candidates. I chose 5 names that I want to talk about. Best part about doing this, hearing from y'all in the comment section, the names that you put down there are the names that we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks during spring practice. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with really my gem going into the 2025 year. That's George Gumbs. He was pretty damn good in the 2024 year. Let's take a step back and just look at the career trajectory for this kid. Committed to Northern Illinois in the 2021 class as a 6'4", 180-pound wide receiver. Redshirted that first year. Moved to tight end, put on a little bit of weight. Was solid at tight end, wasn't great in 2022. Changes positions in 2023, becomes an edge rusher, has some really, really good stuff that he put on film in 2023 in the MAC, transfers to Florida. This year for George Gumbs was year 2 of him rushing the passer at the collegiate level. It was his first year in the SEC. You saw towards the end of the 2024 year, he was really starting to put it together. And you talk about George Gumbs, he was second on the team with 18 quarterback hurries, of which almost half of them came in the last 4 games of the season. What if George Gumbs picks up right where he left off in 2024, takes another step year 2 in the SEC, year 3 rushing the passer? From a talent standpoint, you just take a look at him. He can be an all-conference pass rusher. And I think it's a massive storyline because you look at the other side, you talk about a guy like Tyreek Sapp, who I love, more of a run defender than a pass rusher. You have guys like Cam James and LJ McCray kind of in the pipeline, so to speak. Who's going to be the elite edge rusher for Florida in the 2025 year? It feels like Florida needs somebody to step up. I think it can be George Gumbs. He's my number 1 breakout candidate heading into 2025. Next one on the list, and it's a popular name. It's a name we've talked plenty about. It's going to be cornerback Cormani McClain. Now, this ain't just lip service for me. Whose name have we not seen in the news the last couple of months? Cormani McClain's. That's a good thing. The best thing that could have happened for Cormani McClain is that he stays out of the news. He hasn't had a lot of continuity and consistency in his college football career. And yeah, partially on him, no doubt about it. When he first got to Florida, missing workouts, missing meetings, battled some injuries. The last, 2 months, you haven't heard anything from him. No injuries, no off-the-field concerns. I just saw a picture of him on social media. Looks like he's definitely put on at least 10 pounds, probably up to closer to 185, maybe 190 pounds. This kid is so supremely talented, and it sounds like he is going in the right direction. If it clicks and you get a full offseason where Cormani McClain stays healthy, where he's focused at being a professional and becoming an elite football player, he can become one. And that's why I'm buying the Cormani McClain stock. It's not because you've heard his name over the last couple of weeks. In fact, it's because you haven't. And I think that's exactly what this kid needed. Sign me up. If we get another 8 months leading up to 2025 where we don't really hear any buzz around Cormani McClain, to me, that's a good thing because you might just get a real ball player in the 2025 year. Number 3 on the list, I'm going to go back to the offensive side of the football and talk about maybe the biggest question mark that Florida has going into 2025, and that is who's going to play right tackle. Look, you return 4 out of your 5 starting offensive linemen. This unit's going to be good. Who's going to play right tackle? And I don't have I don't have a ton of reasoning for Fletcher Westphal besides I loved him coming out of high school. Battled some injuries when he got to Florida, then got sick with like monosclerosis. I think I said that, or I ain't no doctor, during fall camp. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I think that first 12 months with the Florida Gators program, it was a developmental year. We knew that was what it was going to be for Fletcher when he came in as a freshman. But I think more importantly, kind of got his feet under him. Battled some injuries, got the body right. You could see a really good football player at right tackle for Florida in the 2025 in Fletcher Westphal. And I don't think it's all that crazy to say he's the most physically gifted offensive lineman on this football team. Does it come together for him in his redshirt freshman year? That's the question. I think it certainly could for my guy Fletcher. You talk about him, he's 6'8". He lost a little bit of weight, which I think is a good thing, kind of improving that athleticism. 82-inch wingspan. Betting on Fletcher Westphal all day. Number 4 on the list to me, and probably the second biggest question in terms of this Florida offense is wide receiver play. Do I think Tank Hawkins starts for Florida? No, probably not. If I were to predict the starting 3 wide receivers, it'd probably be J. Michael Sturdivant and true freshman Dallas Wilson on the outside. Eugene Wilson playing the slot. I think you could see maybe a breakout from a guy like Aiden Mizell. I think Vernell Brown, another true freshman, will certainly contribute. Why am I going to Tank Hawkins? Elite speed, and I think an elite fit in this offense. And I don't think he's going to be a starter. I think he might get 10 to 15 snaps a game. Here's what I think about Tank Hawkins. He's going to make a couple of plays this year that change the game for Florida. I mean, we're talking 10-4 in the 100-meter dash. We're talking about one of the fastest players in all of college football who's now up to almost 180 pounds. He's gained 20 pounds since he's got to Florida. He was coming out soaking wet, $160. Pushing high, and he looks like he's put on some weight, probably can deal with that FCC level of physicality. All right, now I'm kind of burying the lead here. Why am I picking Tank Hawkins? What does DJ Lagway do best? Throws the deep ball. I could see Tank Hawkins, kind of lulling teams to sleep. You trot out Tank Hawkins from the sideline, and he's just going to run right by you. And if you don't respect him, and I don't think he's going to be a guy that when you're playing Florida and you're a defensive coordinator, you're probably game planning for guys like Eugene Wilson and obviously DJ Lagway's legs and potentially a guy like Dallas Wilson. Tank Hawkins ain't in the top 10 on the scouting report. He comes in. Florida wants to push the ball down the field. DJ throws the deep ball better than anybody in the country. And you heard last year at this time, more in the fall camp period, that DJ Lagway and Tank Hawkins in that offense 2 scenario were building some chemistry. I think you can see Tank Hawkins come up and kind of put together a stat line that'd be like 20 catches, 400 yards and change. Not a ton of catches, but the catches are going for 20 plus yards and changing some games. That's what I think you can get from Tank Hawkins. I think a lot of people are talking a lot about some other wide receivers. I think rightfully so. Tank Hawkins should be on that list. Number 5 kind of broke out last year, was actually really dang good for Florida. Pop Howard, until going down with the injury. You could pick any linebacker you want and make an argument they break out. Miles Graham, Aaron Childs, Robinson. You go back and look at Pop Howard. This is according to PFF, so I did not chart this on my own here. He didn't miss a single tackle in the 2024 year. And he was only a redshirt, I believe it's true sophomore. I don't think he redshirted at South Carolina in 2023. More of the story is only going into year 3. Arguably one of the most physically gifted off-ball linebackers that you see in the country, took a massive step. I mean, you go back to South Carolina and how we talked about this kid 12 months ago. Freaky athlete. Certainly looks like an SEC linebacker. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Knew what he was doing this year. What happens if he gets better going into 2025 and becomes a linebacker that really knows what he's doing? You're looking at an all-SEC guy. And again, I think you're going to see a pretty healthy rotation of those off-ball linebackers because you want to get them all on the football field. And I don't say this lightly. I think Pop Howard's the most gifted out of all of them. I think you could see an all-SEC linebacker here with Pop Howard. I think there's going to be some national media noise. Oh, you lose a guy like Shamar James to the NFL draft. Look, I think this linebacker room gets better going into 2025. I think Pop Howard plays a big part in it. That's what I got. You know, DJ Lagway to me broke out this year. Everybody's talking about him. We're going to talk plenty about him in spring practice. Wanted to include some other names. I think when it comes down to it, these are some of the names that if Florida's not, I'm pretty dang confident they're going to be a good football team. There's a lot of things that you know about them that you trust are going to play well in 2025. The question for me is, okay, just how good can Florida be as a football team? I think it has a lot to do with some of these names breaking out, taking that step in 2025. And if you get that, and you get DJ Lagway taking a step, we've been saying it all summer, all winter, and we're going to say it all spring and all summer. Watch out for them Florida Gators. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.